In this video, we'll be looking at the weather pattern. More storm systems are heading toward the US with showers and thunderstorms, maybe even severe weather. After that, another Arctic blast is coming. Cold air will invade the US, bringing sleet, ice, and snow to some spots of the country, as well as temperatures well below average in some spots. Let's get into the video. Hello everybody, Will here, back again with the weather. Our main story today is that winter is not over. It might be getting warmer in some spots and people are like, oh, winter must be over, we're going into the spring. Unfortunately, for people who want warmer weather, that is not the case. We have another shot of Arctic air that's diving down to the south later next week that could bring rain and snow to some spots, even farther to the south in some cases. I'll show you guys some of the models and the temperatures, but first things first, we'll look at the current weather conditions. We got that storm system that brought severe weather to parts of the south and snow to parts of the Midwest moving out of the northeast now. It is windy in some spots up here. There's a little bit of ice and snow on the northern side, but most areas along and down the eastern seaboard are all getting rain right now. We got a little clipper system up in the north bringing light snow to parts of Minnesota and North Dakota. And we also got some light snow in parts of Montana throughout parts of the Rockies. So it's going to be pretty quiet for the weekend, a little bit of snow up in the north, but overall pretty settled, pretty average. It's going to be a nice weekend for a lot of people. But then as we get into early next week, we got another storm system diving to the south, bringing a lot of Arctic air behind it with some light snow across much of the northern U.S. We also have moisture starting to flow up north out of the Gulf of Mexico, bringing showers and thunderstorms to parts of the south. Some of these could be severe. The Storm Prediction Center has noted that there could be a little bit of instability and maybe a few storms, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. So Monday afternoon into Tuesday, you could see this Arctic air diving to the south, and boom, you got a lot of snow and a lot of wintry precipitation. Got a lot of rain on the south side, you got ice in the middle, and you got snow in the north. This could be a pretty significant winter storm in spots. Timing and exact impacts are still to be figured out, but this gives a general idea of where it's going to be. And you can see back here this 1052 Arctic high pressure. That is strong, and what that's going to do is going to force that cold air farther to the south, and this model continues to show that. So Tuesday into Wednesday, this Arctic air keeps diving to the south, and then we have precipitation starting to break out across parts of Texas and Oklahoma. The deep cold air is still up here, but there is enough shallow cold air below freezing to allow for some freezing rain to break out. And then as we get into Thursday, this continues to spread across parts of the south, bringing a lot of freezing rain. That's what this model is showing. A lot of freezing rain anywhere from central Texas up through Oklahoma, through northern Arkansas, up into the Ohio Valley. And then on the northern side where that cold air is deeper, there is a little bit more snow. The main timing for this storm looks to be Wednesday into Thursday. And then this thing scoots off to the northeast Friday, brings some snow for the Great Lakes and some ice across parts of the northeast, and rain to the south of that, with a little bit of snow up toward Canada. And then as this thing gets out of here, the cold air moves in and we continue to watch for storms in the long range. However, we won't get into this because this is over a week out, but it suggests a very active weather pattern. Alright, now we'll take a look at the bigger picture. This is the 500 millibar map. Places that are in this blue and purple are more unsettled weather, and this red right here is an area of higher pressure and more settled weather. So as we go through this weekend, things calm down. There's a lot of orange across the United States suggesting calm and settled weather. And then we got our storm system down here that's developing. And then as we go into the weekend, these two pieces start to come together. So we got that area of cold, stormy weather that's going to move across the United States, but we also have this ridge down here. And I'll explain why that's important in just a second here. So as you go into Wednesday and Thursday, when it was showing that significant winter storm across parts of the south, here's why it's ice in a lot of areas and not snow. So we got this kind of battle zone right here. We got this stubborn high pressure over here, this southeast ridge that's not really moving. And then we got this cold air diving to the south, and they kind of bump into each other. There's this area in the middle of shallow cold air. This deep air can't get all the way down because this high pressure down here is blocking it. So instead there's just a little bit of cold air at the surface, bringing temperatures below freezing, but up in the atmosphere due to this high pressure, temperatures are still above freezing, causing that snow to melt and fall as freezing rain in spots. And then as we go into the weekend, the storm system moves out, and then we're watching the long range for even more. But regardless, we have an area of cold air that's going to dive down to the south, and it's going to be a pretty active weather pattern. And here's our 2-meter temperature anomaly. It's basically how cold the temperatures are compared to average or how warm. Currently, parts of the Northeast are well above average, and parts of the central United States where that cold front just moved through yesterday are well below average. And as we go through the weekend, things start to moderate a little bit, get near average, and then they start to warm up a bit. And then as we get into early next week, you can clearly see where that shot of cold air is. Temperatures anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees below average. And meanwhile, down here in the southeast where that ridge is, temperatures are several degrees above average. And this is where that battle zone is going to set up in the middle. So Wednesday into Thursday, it continues to dive down south. You got temperatures down here well above average, and 100 miles to the north, you got well below average, which is why there's going to be that area of storminess right here. And this side will get a lot of wintry precipitation, and this side will stick to a nice rain. And finally, it starts to let that cold air in as we get later in the week, with temperatures below average across much of the country. As low as 30 to 40 degrees below average is pretty common. Meanwhile, out west where that ridge still is, temperatures are a little bit above average in some spots, but pretty close to normal. You can see that colder air stays around for a few days, and then finally starts to moderate a bit, but we're already watching another area of cold air. So we'll take one more look at the storm system, and I can kind of draw it out to better explain. This is where that ridge is going to set up, and then this is where that cold air is. And right in the middle is where that ice is going to be. And where that cold air is, it's going to be snow, and on the warm side, it's going to be rain. The models are all in fairly good agreement with this too. Here's a look at the GFS. Shows a little bit weaker, but it still gives that general idea of rain on the south, ice in the middle in that battle zone area, and then a bunch of snow on the northern side. And it really starts to strengthen it a little bit later than the European, and it finally gets going here. And then meanwhile, the Canadian model also has it a little bit farther to the south. And if there's one thing models are always bad at, it's pinning the exact location of the cold air. A lot of the times the cold air is a little bit farther south than modeled, so it could be down here. And if that's the case, expect all these impacts to shift to the south as well. Basically, the main message here is there's going to be another shot of cold air. A lot of the US is going to be very cold again, even though it's been warm lately. There's going to be an active storm pattern too along with this cold air, so some spots might get a little or even a lot of wintry precipitation, maybe even parts of the south. Right now the storm just needs to be monitored until we can pin down the exact locations, amounts, and timing, but generally later next week is where we're keeping an eye on. So if you have any plans later next week and you live in these areas, just keep an eye on it right now, or you can always come back to this channel and I'll be providing updates on it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for weather content. Anyways, I think that wraps up about everything for today. We got a lot of active weather coming our way. With some cold air, things could get pretty interesting. I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.